Hello there, Adrian Whichcord, solicitor at Thackeray Williams. I'm a member of the firm's residential property team and deal with residential conveyancing. Today is the 13th of May 2020 and roughly I think about day 49 of lockdown. But for a change we have some much needed good news in that the government have now released their new guidelines on what we can do in the first phase of the easing of the lockdown restrictions and moving home features within them. So for the last 6 or 7 weeks we've only been able to move forward with essential moves. Completions have been delayed otherwise. Well, now subject to a number of restrictions and caveats, we are now able to start moving forward again. The industry can begin to try and get back to some sort of normality. I say caveats, there's plenty of them. First and foremost, in this lockdown phase, if it is found that there is an increase in the reinfection rate for COVID-19, clearly government worried about that and may consider bringing in restrictions back in again. So we may only have a short window of opportunity really to deal with transactions, but we will all need to try as best we can to comply with the restrictions or the guidelines that we now have and get things through as soon as possible. Guidelines are going to be quite difficult in certain circumstances. The main thing for buyers and sellers, sellers mainly, is when we complete a house move, property's going to have to be thoroughly cleaned before people move in. So not quite sure exactly what that means yet, but certainly it looks like deep cleaning is going to be required as a condition of a home move. When it comes to exchanging contracts, those that we have been exchanging recently, we've been building in flexibility into the contracts to enable delays to completion should the lockdown persist. Well, we're still going to have the need for those clauses because obviously if there is still the risk of the completions not being allowed to happen in the future and we've exchanged and completions beyond that point, then there still needs to be that flexibility to delay transactions if need be. But it's much needed good news because at least now people can start thinking about planning for the future. One of the big important points to that, especially for estate agents, please can you, if you've got new clients coming to wanting to sell their property, wanting to get their house on the market, obviously you've got new restrictions to deal with yourselves. But one thing that you could do for us, please, if you wouldn't mind, is asking your selling clients to instruct their solicitors just as soon as possible. Don't wait until a buyer has been found necessarily. As soon as they're instructing you to get the property on the market, get them to be in touch with their solicitors at that point. We can then get our packs together so that as soon as a buyer is found, packs can be issued straight away. What I'm getting at here is we need to try and minimise the length of time transactions are going to take. Yes, there's still going to be delays in the system. We're all quite realistic about that. Searches have held up pretty well. Surveyors are beginning to be able to go, well, mortgage valuers in particular are being able to start going out to visit properties again. But there's various links in the chain where things are taking more time because everyone's still working from home. Things just seem to take that little bit more time. But we need to try and get things through just as soon as possible. As I say, there may be only a short window of opportunity if there was to be an increase in the reinfection rate. So we need to try and get things through just as soon as we can. If you're thinking of selling or buying a property, or in particular if you're thinking of buying a property, again, get solicitors instructed as soon as you can. We'll be asking you for all things like ID and source of funds information, all that kind of thing. Please get that to your solicitors as soon as possible. Get your monies on account that they ask for searches. Get those to the solicitors just as soon as they request it. Again, let's just try and get things through just as soon as we can. There's going to be an interesting time, but we at Thacker Williams are still here for you. We're all still working at home, and say, at least now, some signs of movement and some grounds for optimism. Thank you.